me in a chokehold again. I can't breathe, I can't breathe when it puts me in a chokehold again.
So as long as I've known you, even post Trickster, to me, you're always one of the hardest working guys, always one of the busiest guys in the business, always playing with the millions of cover bands in Jersey, from Sugar Belly to the Benjamins to just everyone. And now you're playing with like every touring band in America. How did this happen?
Change of pace.
Yeah. Just America.
Man, I just like to play. Just keep working. I'm a musician and nothing else. So I play wherever, whenever.
Yeah.
It's what I do. It's what I love. And I'm lucky enough to be able to do it on any level, let alone, the last couple of years. I mean, it's just been nothing but touring.
During the pandemic, you created a Kuarantine during the quarantine period, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys did a bunch of Kiss covers. You did it. Product placement, great product placement.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
And then you ended up becoming the Fozzy bass player. And I knew the old bass player from Fozzy because I met him when they came to play at Hard Rock. So now you're the bass player from Fozzy. How did that come about? How did this whole relationship with Chris Jericho come about? And were you a wrestling fan before this?
I kind of tapped out of wrestling, pun intended. WWF back when I was probably 10 or 11, and really started. That's when I started getting serious about music. So it was like all music from that point on. I was introduced to Chris through Eddie Trunk. Steve and I think had just done his show in New York, and he's like, "We're going over to Fridays in Hasbrook Heights. Jericho just wrestled. We're having dinner. He wants to meet you guys. He's a huge Trickster fan."
Wow.
So we went out to dinner, and this was like 15 years ago. And he really was. I mean, his favorite record is Here, and he is, having dinner with him and Trunk. They're pretty knowledgeable in everything music. Yeah. So we just got along great, and we've been friends ever since. And then, going back to the pandemic, and we talk every single day, multiple times a day via text. We have a million text threads with each other. It's like my phone can't light up without his name popping up. Right. So, we started Kuarantine during the pandemic, and really soon after that, Fozzy had a run of shows in August of 2020 that the bass player Randy just didn't want to do. He wasn't comfortable touring at all, doing anything during that time. So Chris and Rich both called me and asked if I would kind of step in and just kind of take care of this run and maybe some stuff that was coming up on the horizon. And I said, yeah, man, I'm down, whatever. I mean, I was touring. I was getting ready to tour anyway. Me and Eric Martin were doing acoustic shows still in the pandemic. We were flying out. We were finding places that were open and doing our little acoustic show where it was just kind of tables and chairs and dinner and a show anyway. So our kind of vibe didn't change during the pandemic. So we were able to play. And so I was like, yeah, I'll get on the bus with you guys and go out and rock and roll. Hell yeah. And it just really clicked. I mean, instantly. I mean, again, I'd known Chris, but I didn't really know the Fozzy guys too well at all, some of them. And just got on the bus and we just went and had a great time. And I wound up doing shot a pay-per-view special with them soon after that. And then we played like Chris's 50th birthday party at his house. And then just more stuff. It was just like, this is a no-brainer, dude. You're in. You're not leaving.
Yeah, no, you're a great fit. You look great on stage with them. I mean, did you do the last record with them too, or?
Ironically, that was already done by the time I was filling in. This record has been sitting for so long. The song "Nowhere to Run" is on this new record, and that came out in 2019, maybe. Yeah, I mean, so the record's been sitting for a couple of years now. So, yeah, unfortunately, it was already finished by the time I was a permanent member of the band.
So when you started playing, that was your first introduction to Rich Ward too, because he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's a guitar player.
Yeah, I mean, I'd met him once or twice quickly. I think we met on the Jericho cruise once. And a couple of quick chats, but nothing really before that.
Yeah. I mean, you seem to have good. I mean, I'm only basing it off like what I see on like your social media. Like when you travel with them, you're actually going out with Chris and hanging out with him, like going to see like sites and stuff. So it's like you guys are actually friends as well as bandmates, which is what you had even before that with other bands before this.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it helps that again, we were friends going into it. So yeah, we are definitely buddies on the road. We go out and we'll go out afterwards and have a couple drinks or just go see the sights. We have a lot in common. So yeah, we do things together. It's just like touring with your friends.
Yeah. So, okay, I want to talk about the Trickster thing real quick. You and Steve have been going out doing the acoustic Trickster shows at various venues, which is pretty cool because it's cool to hear those songs stripped down. And like Chris, my favorite record was the second one as well. Rockin' Horse is like one of my favorite songs ever.
Right.
Because of the heaviness of it. But so I know that, I don't know what the story is. I know Pete and Gus live in Arizona, but why acoustic and not the full band? I mean, I don't know if there was a fallout. I'm not really sure. Nothing was ever publicized. So,
yeah, there was a little bit of crap that went down, but I mean, really, even beyond that, the fact is that Pete's life took precedence in Arizona. He had a job, has a job, and basically just real life got in the way and kind of was making it harder and harder for him to commit to shows. So even towards the end, like when we stopped all playing together in, I don't know, 2017 or 18, it was kind of like he just really couldn't commit to anything. Everything was really kind of like pulling teeth to get him to commit. And, I don't think he wanted to let us down by saying, man, I can't do this anymore. But kind of the writing was on the wall. So, yeah, and then some nonsense went down with, without dragging it all into it's really just kind of water under the bridge at this point. But we just kind of put it to rest. Obviously, I've been very busy. Steve's been very busy. So we were just like, you know what? If this isn't going to happen, all four of us, then let's just walk away for a little bit and, until we can see what happens. But realistically, I mean, Pete just isn't doing anything, to my knowledge, musically, outside of, maybe he's working on some music at home and stuff, but he's not really out there plugging away. And, that's just the deal. And I totally understand it. There's no harm, no foul. Don't, it just is what it is. So, in order to kind of keep it together, what happened was me and Eric had a show last year, and Eric wound up getting sick. He couldn't do the show, so I'm like, you know what? I'll just fly Steve out, and we'll just play Trickster songs. I mean, we were doing a couple anyway that I would sing with Eric, so it's like, just Steve stepped in, and we had a great time. We're like, God, we should just. Everyone loved it. I'm like, let's just do this then. It's kind of, so it's not really like putting the band back together and kind of pulling it off as Trickster. It's just something different. It's still the guys in the band singing the songs, so it makes it a little bit cooler. And it's a broken down version of it.
Is there a possibility of the four of you getting back together, or is it another one of those Skid Row situations where it's never going to happen?
I don't know, man. Again, Steve and I are the ones that have been out playing music nonstop. This is what we do. This is what we always wanted to do. We always wanted to play with Trickster, for unforeseen circumstances that had to stop for a while. So I mean, and again, it goes back to Pete just really not being that available or motivated.
Right. What's crazy too is that I watched some of the videos of the acoustic stuff, and you and Steve, like, for some reason your voices actually sound like Pete sometimes. It's like interchangeable. I guess that was the chemistry that you guys had back then. You guys all had similar voices. So really, you're not missing anything, really. I mean, except for the four guys on the stage together.
Right.
The voices do sound very similar. So you're not missing a step.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, when you sing and play together long enough, you really kind of get a similar. You're picking from the same kind of gene pool and sonic palette, if you will.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you've been also performing a lot of solo acoustic shows. Is there a follow-up to accent the change in the works?
I don't know. I don't really put myself. I'm not on a schedule or on a have any sort of goals about it. If I can carve out some time, and I'm always writing a little bit here and there, but I'm not really very diligent with it, especially as busy as I've been.
Right.
I'm very busy just physically playing, and not a lot of time to wrap my head around just to let the creative juices flow. So who knows? I mean, it might come in the form of an EP or just a couple of singles. I don't know. I haven't even really thought about it yet. I still feel like I haven't been able to get out and perform the songs off of Accent to Change as much as I would have liked to, being that it came out in 2020. And then really right after that, I got super busy with all my bands touring at the same time. So I was like, okay, well, I got out to Florida last weekend to do a couple of shows. I had the weekend. I'm like, let me go and do that now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when I can, I will. But yeah, we'll see.
What kind of sets are you playing when you're doing solo stuff? Are you just doing stuff for your solo CDs, or are you doing like covers?
Yeah, I'm just doing the stuff off my records. Maybe one or two Trickster songs, and just kind of shedding light on that stuff.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Are you still doing the Raw thing with Sahaj?
Yeah, I just did that last week as well.
Oh, you did play on those shows.
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe there'll be some more next year. Again, Ra, I call it like my cicada band. Rises,
Right.
And sure, wouldn't you know it? It comes right when I'm at the busiest I've ever been. But yeah, I was able to go out and do about a week shows last week, so that was a lot of fun. It always is. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's good to see him out there again because I thought he had an amazing voice.
And it's a great band. We got a great catalog, and it's always great to get out there and play those songs.
So you've had the opportunity to collaborate with a lot of people in your career. Eric Martin, like you said, Sahaj, Jericho, Chris Ward, Lita Ford, obviously Steve Brown, and who would your dream collaboration be if you had to pick a dream team? Who would you pick?
Definitely Andy Sturmer from Jellyfish.
Wow.
Wherever the hell he is, Germany or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that would be probably the first guy I would go to. If they said go to anybody, I think I'd go right to him.
I didn't expect that as an answer. That's pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I heard he's difficult to work with, but I don't care. I'd take it. I'd take it.
Want to write with him?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Now that you've been on a tour bus recently, that now you're doing a lot more touring. How do you compare being on a tour bus now than the days of old with Trickster? Because I can imagine there was more partying back then, as opposed to just drinking coffee and stuff on the tour bus.
Yeah, it's definitely had a lot more energy back then. My first couple of years of touring, but yeah, obviously, I mean, I always tell like the guys in Fozzy, I'm like, man, I was the guy with the shoulder strap cell phone on the Kiss tour. This cost $3.75 a minute to make this call, you know. And before that, there was no phone. It was like tap my bus driver on the shoulder. Hey man, can you pull over? I gotta make a phone call. It's like, God, yeah. I think how do we ever do this with the big map on the dashboard and, you know, pull over? I gotta make a phone call, and it's like, you know, no. I mean, I remember TVs in the bunk were a big thing. Now it's just like you Velcro your phone or your iPad to the top of your bunk, and you have internet, and you have, you know, Netflix in your bunk, and it's just, you know, you got all the comforts of home pretty much.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was you, Rich, or Chris who posted a picture of everyone sitting in the bus and they're all on their phones. No one's like even talking to each other.
That was me. I'm like, look at this, all of us squashed in the front lounge, right? Like we're having this big conversation, and every single one of us is on our phones. That's story. It's a lot of data usage once you go into it.
I wanted to comment, where's all the screaming chicks?
Where's all the screaming chicks? Yep. Nope.